Well, good to have you with us. It's a Monday morning. It's 19 away from 7 o'clock. It is, without a doubt, been the biggest story of the past week, all because of an interview between our Annika Larsen on eNCA and ETV and the now former CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter. Now, the ANC is giving him 7 days to report allegations that he made during the interview over to authorities. He made these damning claims in an interview that aired last week here on eNCA and also on ETV. If you haven't seen it, by the way, go over to our website, eNCA.com. You'll see on the homepage, on the left-hand side, we have a trending section. It's our top 5 stories. It is still the #1 trending video in the country at the moment. So if you haven't watched it, it's 54 minutes. It will be the best 54 minutes of your day if you haven't watched it as yet. And that sets very nicely the context for the conversation that I'm having with political analyst Prof. Sipho Seepe joining us this morning. Hello to you, Prof, and good to have you on the show as always. I appreciate your time. Some people were saying after the interview with all the allegations that Andre de Ruyter should actually lay the charges. So why is the ANC, do you think, being given so much grief for asking him to lay charges? It seems like a fair request and a fair demand by them.
Well, the ANC sees itself as hard done by Andre de Ruyter. For one, is that people have been concerned about the series of blackouts that we've been having, the longest period of load shedding, and its impact in the lives of people, something that President Ramaphosa expressed quite eloquently when he gave his State of the Nation address about what the nation is feeling in terms of the impact. But it is the same ANC that was always willing to defend Andre de Ruyter. Now it feels that based on the support that they had given, despite what many people saw as glaring failure, now he has turned on the ANC. But all what he did say, and also was to suggest that, well, there are challenges. And yes, I had failed in my mandate to bring up about the end of the load shedding. But I need to also spell it out that there are these other issues that were a handicap. Now, the first person to respond to his interview was a person who also indicated that I'd given him all the support that he could get. That's Pravin Gordhan. And he also made it very clear that based on those revelations, the board will have to do something. And we saw Andre de Ruyter summarily dismissed. Well, in language that we speak in corporate world, we talk about an agreement being reached that he will leave immediately instead of saving what is left. But what is very clear is that what he said has ruffled the feathers, and politically so. And we saw at least the other 3 ministers jumping the gun, raising these issues, including the Secretary General of the ANC. So you can see that what he had put on the table is a serious hot potato for the ANC, because they feel, as I said, hard done by. But what he said, which ATM has taken up, is something more serious. When we talk about dealing with anti-corruption, and when we think that President Ramaphosa had put dealing with corruption as one of his priorities, and then you have a person that is being entrusted in turning around the fortunes of Eskom, saying, I have people very senior in government, in the cabinet of Ramaphosa, Mr. Clean, who are saying to me, when I try to deal with corruption, that you need to be practical, you need to be realistic. And so that is very serious. And of course, we also know that in terms of our laws, when people are in senior positions and are aware that a crime is committed, the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act requires of all of us to begin to approach the law enforcement agency to raise those issues.
I suppose
And
the
this is what
issue,
the
Prof,
ANC is actually
for those who
for.
watched the interview, Prof, and Andre de Ruyter was quite clear about this, is that he fears for his life. He doesn't trust the authorities. He doesn't trust the police. He doesn't trust protection services. And I suppose one could argue it's why he maybe hadn't done it at the time the interview went to air. He feared for his life. He was very clear about this as well, which is maybe why he hadn't done it. Would you agree with that, A? And B, what still stands out for me is that one of the allegations is that 1 billion rand a month is lost at Eskom, and yet the government, the ANC government, is coming out, or the ANC as a party is coming out, but government per se doesn't seem to be taking that seriously. Instead, they seem to be attacking Andre de Ruyter. That's the view of many people.
Well, one cannot speak of Andre de Ruyter in terms of how he feels, but you cannot dismiss that the notion of I fear for my life as something, you cannot take it lightly. I mean, we have seen people being killed. I mean, this is a crime-ridden country. I mean, the statistics on crime that were revealed by the minister indicate that things are getting worse. They're not getting better. When murder rate has increased by 20%. So a person in his position can speak based on what he says to say, if I speak, and also given the fact that there have been other people who have made reports and nothing has happened, given the unsolved cases, he is correct to say, well, I fear for my life. But fortunately for him, unlike many South Africans, he can actually leave the country, as he had indicated. Many of us are trapped and are going to be trapped in the darkness that he failed to address. But nonetheless, the mere fact that he has made those allegations is something that the law enforcement agencies must follow up, because it is very serious. Gwede Mantashe said, beyond actually what Andre said that we lose about 1 billion due to corruption every month. But Gwede Mantashe says we lose 1 billion per day, due to load shedding. So the country is in a worse shape. And what Andre has should be something that, as ATM says, he should ventilate that in spaces like Parliament. Whether he's going to do that is something else. But now that he claims to be leaving the country, maybe when he's outside, he might tell us all, because at the moment he's claimed that he's too scared for his life.
Politically, how would the ANC, how would government handle that? Let's imagine, as Andre de Ruyter had indicated in the interview, that he was looking to leave the country, to take a holiday and reconnect with his kids, etc., etc. And those names were to come out, more details were to come out, he were to write an affidavit, whatever it were to be in the end. How do you think the ANC should handle that? Because I imagine there could be even more bombs dropped during that affidavit and through that evidence. How does the ANC handle that ahead of 2024 when they're hoping to try and make their image a bit more squeaky clean?
Well, first, the ANC has an egg on its face. It made promises about dealing with load shedding. It made promises about dealing with corruption, and none of that has happened. We have the rolling blackouts. We have corruption continuing almost now at some people say it's on steroids. That is a challenge that the ANC cannot go away, and people experience this on a daily basis. And once Andre de Ruyter begins to start mentioning names, you are going to have some people who are going to want to turn state witnesses, because the corruption of this nature does not involve one person. It involves a number of people down the value chain. So this would be not so much what the ANC will do, that once the secret is out, once people know the truth, all parties in Parliament will take an opportunity to make sure that we get the truth out of what is happening at Eskom. And we must also understand that there was a time when we had load shedding addressed, but we had succeeded in demonizing people who might deal with it. But right now, people are feeling the pinch of blackouts, and we're having winter coming soon. And the predictions are that Eskom is not going to come around. It is this year. We have been told that it's going to be a hell of a year for most of the people. So the ANC, as it goes forward to prepare for the next elections, it goes there with its hands behind its back, unable to tell a good story.
Prof, always good to talk to you and appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how the ANC and the government are going to handle this if there was to be more information with names coming out from Andre de Ruyter, if and when that possibly takes place.